Hello, I'm Jocelyn Kochi and today's tutorial is for an intermediate level piece called Tomb Spiders. It comes from a collection called Danger Zone, which are 12 atmospheric pieces for early intermediate to late intermediate piano. And this particular collection was written for the children and teens in my studio who were asking me for music that was dark, fast, scary and or powerful, all of which I've tried to meet in this collection. Tomb Spiders, as I've said, is an intermediate level piece. It sits somewhere between 4th and 5th grade in the Australian and New Zealand grading system and between 5th and 6th in the ABRSM system, which is used through Asia and the UK. Tomb Spiders is ideal for students who love the satisfaction of having fast, clever notes rolling off their fast, clever fingers, but without being obvious. It's very subtle, very satisfying to play once that finger work has been mastered, and very effective in impressing their friends. The abrupt ending in particular leaves the listener with a feeling of being struck by a short, surprising vortex. So I'll play through Tomb Spiders so that you can hear what I'm talking about, and then we'll talk about some of the teaching points and learning challenges. So, teaching points. Probably the most obvious is the necessity for playing softly. Not an easy thing to do, but essential to give emphasis to the louder sections, for them to have more impact, but also for the general expression in the right hand to be standing out. To achieve this, students will need to keep their fingers close to the keys. They need to lean into that first note of the triplet, not with an accent, but just leaning in to take emphasis away from the second and third finger, the second finger and the thumb. And the mezzo piano in the bass here is maintained right through the A sections. The character direction is creepy and desolate with a remorseless flow. And that's what we want to achieve with this unrelenting movement in the left hand. Over the top of that, the right hand comes in carrying the dynamics or the expressive part. And for the student then to decide what is happening in the music, what is the purpose of that inexorably moving bass? Is it a big mass of spiders moving in the dark? And if so, what's happening with the right hand? Is it one big queen spider that's coming in over the top of all that? Or is that inexorably moving bass representing something else entirely, such as perhaps the undulations of the earth in the tomb over which the spiders in the treble are crawling? Regardless, the need is for the use of dynamic contrast in the treble, so it's probably helpful for the student to have some kind of a picture in his or her mind. Aside from that, the whole piece is based on minor and blues scale patterns, which makes it fairly comfortable and straightforward for the student to get their fingers around. They'll still need to work on it slowly, not only to get those runs smoothly under their fingers, but also to get a clear feel for the dynamic changes. Once all of that's under control, it's much easier to speed up. So I think I will just go through slowly some of those things just so that you can see them close up. So we start off with the fingers close to the keys to maintain that mezzo piano all the way through, and leaning into that first note of each group, and then the right hand comes in over the top. So that rundown there is important for them to go slowly, really, to get their fingers around the notes so that they can do it quickly, but also for that dynamic, you know, it goes from forte down to piano again at the end. Now the next section is coming in sixths. And the hands can be more evenly balanced here, although the right hand still needs to stand out a little as it's carrying the main melody. The next part, the right hand moves up an octave. And back to the sixth. The second pattern there is just has a slightly different ending. It's more of a transitional ending there. Leading into the bridge back into the recap. So coming down in tenths and then in octaves. So a very soft and quite abrupt ending there. We don't want a lot of pedal in this piece. The run should be clean and spidery, but a bit of pedal can be added here and there to give colour and emphasis to some of the chords and even some of the crescendos and that allargando before the recapitulation of the A section. Although it still needs to be fairly clean, I would pedal each of, in the allarg section, I would pedal each of the chords individually. And I think that's probably about it. If anyone has any questions about any other parts of it, because I know that some of the tricky things in this piece do sort of crop up individually as people are teaching it. They're the only ones I can think of at this moment. But feel free to get in touch if you do have questions or have problems with anything that you need some strategies for. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that your students, particularly your teen students, will enjoy the challenges that Tomb Spiders brings, and more importantly, will enjoy showing off their clever finger dexterity with their friends. Tomb Spiders and the Danger Zone collection are available from Wirrapang at www.australiancomposers.com.au.